This is 7 News, the voice of the Riverina.
Tonight, Optus customers unlikely to be compensated after one of the worst outages in Australian history.
The XPT off the rails for track maintenance with coaches to replace trains.
And in the national news, 2 arrested after a man is killed and police were shot at.
And Aussies struggle with interest rates as NAB posts almost $8 billion in profits.
7 News begins now.
Good evening. The federal government has launched an inquiry into the Optus blackout amid calls for tighter regulation of the telecommunications sector.
Locally, businesses today were counting the cost of the outage, with many now demanding compensation.
It was another blow to small businesses already battling with the rising cost of living.
So I was down 68% in trade yesterday.
The Good Grind, like many others, relies heavily on EFTPOS machines for their sales.
People are just not carrying money around anymore. So when you remove that option to be able to pay, customers just can't make those payments.
When the Optus network went down, it made business extremely difficult.
Some were cash, some went to the old-fashioned running a tab, so they've been coming back in and paying for my really regular customers.
The outage has sparked conversation over the need for a backup solution in regards to telecommunications.
It really does emphasise that as a community we actually do need to start discussing what is it that is critical for us to do businesses, and is that infrastructure and support network there and available.
The business community is understandably frustrated and are asking for compensation.
The margins in the hospitality industry are so thin that days like yesterday really, really hurt, and it's very hard to make it up again.
However, so far it's not looking likely, with Optus releasing a statement saying they're looking for ways to say thank you.
This is the largest mobile communications network failure in Australia's history.
The cause is being blamed on a technical network issue. Optus says they will work with the government investigation to ensure lessons are learned from the incident. Jacinta Coonahan, 7 News.
A Riverina abattoir is set to face court over a horrific workplace safety incident. It comes 2 years after a worker was placed in an induced coma after suffering serious leg injuries. Emily Francis joins us now with more on this. And Emily, who has launched the action?
Maddie, SafeWork New South Wales has commenced proceedings against Hilltop Meats and one other unidentified defendant over the incident. The Safety Authority began investigating after emergency services were called to the Scenic Road Slaughterhouse in October 2021. It's understood first responders arrived to find a man aged in his 30s who had been working on a scaffolding board above a meat auger when his legs became trapped in the machinery. It took crews nearly 3 hours to delicately free the man before he could be airlifted to Canberra Hospital. The matter will be heard in court next month, and SafeWork has confirmed the maximum penalty for the duty of care breach is almost $2 million. Maddie.
Thanks for the update, Emily. Emily Francis reporting there for us tonight.
Well, the fast train between Sydney and Melbourne is off the rails until Monday. Coaches will replace the XPT during maintenance work, with passengers saying it's about time the government makes good on its election promise.
Finally, some good news for our customers travelling on the XPT service to Sydney Central. This will be arriving at the platform in approximately 5 minutes' time.
The region's one and only train line will shut down operations this weekend for track works, making a snooze fest of a trip between Sydney and Melbourne even longer. Commuters between the regions and major cities will be forced onto rail replacement buses from tomorrow until Monday, meaning they'll need to contend with traffic jams.
It's not very nice at times. Much prefer the trains.
The extra delays will allow for the tracks to be maintained, but locals say the line itself isn't the biggest issue.
At the end of the day, we need a new regional fleet. I think the southern region of New South Wales should be a priority. The trains are very important for us, and people are actually sick and tired of travelling on the old XPTs.
Prior to this year's state election, Labor slammed the coalition for being slow-moving in getting a new regional fleet in motion and promised to improve the ageing trains.
So let's get on with it.
It's understood the current government is also facing delays in getting the new fleet on track, but the local member says it must remain a priority.
We just don't want this kicked off into the long grass again. I mean, sadly, people don't realise how many people do actually rely on train travel.
Transport for New South Wales has apologised for any inconvenience caused by this weekend's track work and says a timeline for the delivery of the new trains is yet to be confirmed. Emily Francis, 7 News.
A Senate inquiry has released its report on ADHD, finding there needs to be a massive overhaul of how it's treated. GPs have welcomed the report, while those that have ADHD say there needs to be better access to support.
Diagnosed at 19, Amelia says her ADHD went under the radar. It's only when she went to university that the signs became more prominent.
And seeking a diagnosis, it takes a long time, it's expensive, out of pocket as well.
ADHD has been put under the spotlight in the latest Senate inquiry. Among 15 recommendations, the report details the need for a more consistent approach to improve treatment. That includes making sure all states are on the same page when it comes to prescribing rules and creating a better support network.
I think there could be more support so that it doesn't end up being what has happened to a lot of, like myself and a lot of people I know, a late diagnosis, struggling and trying to self-manage without the information from the professionals who can do it.
Local GPs have welcomed the report, saying it's time for more services to hit the market in regional areas.
We don't actually even have a youth and adolescent or a child and adolescent psychiatrist at all in Wagga. So we have no option for referral to psychiatry.
The report also calls for a review into bulk billing incentives and the PBS to reduce out-of-pocket expenses.
One of my family members has spent almost $2,000 to be told that it possibly is, and she needs even more tests that she can't afford at the moment, and she can't afford to go outside of Wagga.
I think funding services that can help young people, funding services where GPs can work and there is no cost to the consumer, is one of the areas that needs to be looked at urgently.
The government has 3 months to respond. Marla Summer, 7 News.
Well, the case of a historical sexual assault on a main road in Wagga is again before the courts. A man aged in his 50s is alleged to have been involved in an assault that happened more than 3 decades ago. It's alleged the then 16-year-old victim was walking along Docker Street when she was approached by 2 men unknown to her before being punched in the head and sexually assaulted. The case resumes again in January.
The Aboriginal Legal Service is calling for all prisons to return to public ownership. The service says an end to private prison ownership will improve the health outcomes of Indigenous inmates. It comes as Junee Jail is set to return to government operations in 2025. The Aboriginal Legal Service says the decision is a step in the right direction.
It can help to promote more accountability and more transparency about the standard and the level and quality of care that's provided in those settings. There really needs to be an overhaul of healthcare in correctional settings across the board.
The GEO group has run the prison for the past 3 decades.
Riverina farmers are on edge tonight with heavy storms bringing harvest to a halt. Almost 24 hours of thunderstorms have put crops under threat, with more wet weather having the potential to downgrade crops. Local farmers say it's critical the weather clears up before irreversible damage is done to the high-quality wheat, which currently sits at a high premium. If the rain holds off, harvest is expected to stop for around 5 days while the ground dries out. Meanwhile, the Wagga Touch Association was forced to cancel all junior competitions tonight. Waterlogged grounds were deemed too wet for play. Football Wagga moved its trials for all age groups to tomorrow night after Gissing Oval was closed in the wake of those heavy rainfalls.
And Kirsty joins us now for a closer look at today's weather conditions. And Kirsty, as we just heard, plenty of rain around.
That's right, Maddie. Nick, hello to you both and good evening, everyone. Moderate to heavy rainfall and thunderstorms have certainly hit the Riverina. Storms and lightning rolled in through around 10 p.m. last night. And again, about 4:30 this morning, Tumbarumba recording 27 millimetres of rain. 16 millimetres fell in Wagga between midnight and 7:30 this morning. But those showers remain consistent across the day. Wagga picking up another 9 millimetres since 9 a.m. and we've had about 14 millimetres near Gundagai. Temperatures not quite as warm as what we were expecting today, just the low to mid-20s for most. It did remain muggy though, with a breezy east to northeasterly winds. Now we will see these skies clearing for tomorrow, a sunny Friday. Temperatures certainly heating up. I'll have that forecast a little later on.
Thanks, Kirsty. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Still to come in 7 News, the future of Wagga's play space is under review.
And a local singer in the running for a top country music award.
And a little later on this news hour, a smoke alarm saves a family just in time as their townhouse burns to the ground. The first of the big four to raise interest rates again, now reporting a multi-billion-dollar profit. And Israel cops intense global scrutiny over its Gaza exit strategy.
Welcome back. A draft of Wagga's 20-year playground strategy is now on display and the community is being asked to provide feedback. The draft includes 16 recommendations, including a focus on sun safety and accessibility. It also includes a recommendation that Council incorporates a water park when planning the Bolton Park Master Plan.
I suppose part of the public exhibition period this time is really asking the community, is this something that you would like to see? And if that is something, would encourage them to put a submission in and confirm that that's something that they'd like to see developed within the area.
People can submit feedback until the 7th of December.
A local up-and-coming singer will compete in the biggest Australian country music competition. Nathan Lamont is one of the top 10 finalists for Tamworth Star Maker, and he's hoping it'll be third time lucky. The competition took the careers of Keith Urban and Troy Casadei to new heights. The winner will receive recording rights and a trip to Nashville. Lamont says he's got what it takes, putting in the hard yards over the past 12 months.
Just the opportunity to get back up on the stage and feature what I've got to offer, and you know, hopefully, you know, can resonate with a lot of the audience members, my journey, my story, and you know, the songs that I've written.
The competition will take place in January.
3 Riverina businesses have been recognised in this year's New South Wales Tourism Awards. Tumberfest in Tumbarumba took out top spot in the festival and events section. Kurabara Wines, also from Tumbarumba, came out with silver in the wineries, distilleries and breweries category. And Wagga's Food I Am took out silver in the food category.
As Wagga's tennis community continues to struggle with the closure of the Jim Elphick Tennis Centre, Albury is preparing to host some of the region's best juniors. The Regional Champion of Champions event originated in Wagga, but it's found a new home on the border.
Possessing one of the nation's largest junior tournaments in the Margaret Court Cup, the Champion of Champions event is not as big, but the talent is of high quality.
Throughout the year, through January through to where we are now, you know, some of the up-and-coming juniors have been travelling all over the southwest region. A lot of the players have represented the southwest. Did some state events throughout the year, and it's just the culmination of all the players coming together. 8 players in each age group will contest the championships in both girls and boys divisions. It will be under a round-robin format, and Albury has been lucky enough to win hosting rights. The tournament, which started out in Wagga, always evolving and acts as a pathway for junior players. Revamping it year in, year out to make it better, more organised and, as I said, a pure pathway for those starting out their tournament journey and going on to play at higher levels, at state level, national level, and then hopefully overseas as well. The border will be well represented at the event with a number of promising chances. Coach Jade Kolf believes the tournament will give invaluable experience to the local players. New South Wales is the biggest state and the most competitive state. So a lot of our juniors got exposure to state level tennis. They're able to come back here. A lot of them are in our academy program, our junior development program, and they'll get a chance to play against the best in the southwest region. Stephen Murphy, 7 News.
Still to come in 7 News, an Iron Woman inspires students to pursue their sporting goals.
And the reigning softball premiers struggle with a shortage of players. We begin with Aussie rules tonight, and East Wagga Kooringal has continued its off-season recruitment blitz by landing another prize signature. The Hawks have swooped on Leighton Witten ruckman Mason Dryberg ahead of his move to Wagga next year. Dryberg helped the Crows to a drought-breaking Riverina Football League premiership in 2017 and was the club's best and fairest last year. The Hawks are building a formidable roster under new coach Jake Barrett, with Jeremy Maslin, Luke Jarrett, Dylan Morton and Jeremy Pearcey all committed to the club. To league tag, and McKenna Henman will lead the reigning premiers into the upcoming Group 9 season. Tomorrow's best and fairest winner moves into the coaching role to replace Courtney McCrone, who's stepping down to welcome her 4th child. McCrone will serve as Henman's assistant after guiding the club to back-to-back premierships. Henman was one of 4 Temora stars who played every minute of the Dragons' hard-fought grand final win over Kangaroos in September. One of Wagga's most successful athletes paid a special visit to Wagga High School today to inspire students and their sporting goals. Former Olympian Radka Karlefeld achieved a long-held dream by tackling one of the toughest sporting events on the planet.
This is my journey.
Radka Karlefeld is a mum of 2, businesswoman, former Olympian and Ironwoman. Today, she sought to use her story to inspire students at the Wagga High School sports presentation.
Sport is going to teach you so much in life. It's not just sport.
Radka grew up in an industrial centre in the Czech Republic.
Back then, when I was little, it was quite polluted and I was quite a sick child, actually, so had lots of health problems. And then we actually moved also to Germany for 2.5 years, and that's where I kind of recovered and got stronger.
As her health improved, Radka's love of sport blossomed.
Which was actually cross-country skiing and tennis playing at the beginning, so ended up with triathlon a few years later.
The former Olympian turned 70.3 champion has recently returned from Kona in Hawaii, where she completed one of the toughest sporting events on the planet.
It's a full Ironman distance, so I've done 3 around here in Cairns and Port Macquarie and Busselton, so in Australia. And I thought, oh yeah, I know what it's all about. But then Kona, Hawaii, it's another step up.
She crossed the line in 18th after finishing the 226-kilometre course in a tick over 9 hours and 3 minutes.
I've qualified for World Championship in half Ironman, which is next year in December in Taupo, New Zealand. That's going to be exciting.
Radka was on hand to present some of Wagga High's most prestigious awards. Sporting Blues are handed out to athletes who represent the state in a school sport or win a medal at a New South Wales Combined High Schools Carnival. 7 athletes were recognised with the honour. 89 Wagga High students represented the Riverina across an array of sports. Steph Muir, 7 News.
Turning to softball now, and only one game of Premier League will be played on Saturday. Albury Comets have agreed to defer their Round 5 clash with Turvey Park Red as the reigning premiers continue to struggle with a shortage of players.
There's only one Premier League fixture taking place on Saturday, but it's set to be a cracker. Unbeaten, South Wagga will go head-to-head with Turvey Park Blue for the 2nd time this season. The experienced Warriors recorded an 11-2 victory in the pair's first meeting, but the Blues are fast emerging as this season's surprise packet. They're 2nd on the ladder after recording consecutive wins against Turvey Park Red and Albury Comets.
It is a competition where you have a good day and you can take home the win, so that's been really good. And look, the Blues are set for a great game and they'll be looking to really take it to South Wagga.
Players and spectators are encouraged to wear a splash of pink and bring a donation to French Fields to raise funds and awareness for melanoma research. The Premier League fixture will unfold on Diamond 3, but there's hope a neighbouring field will be accessible before the end of the year.
That is our goal. We've been working very closely with Wagga Council, with Caddison, Brian and Josh, and we've been having some really positive conversations there, and there will be definitely work happening in the next few weeks.
Meanwhile, Wagga softball product Alex Maiden has enjoyed a memorable campaign with the Australian junior spirit team.
High fly ball there, that brings runners in for Australia.
Australia has qualified for the group stage of the Under-18 Women's Softball World Cup after finishing 2nd behind New Zealand in the Oceania Championship in American Samoa. Alex returns to Wagga tomorrow. Steph Muir, 7 News.
Up next in 7 News, Kirsty is back and she's got your local weather forecast. That's next.
Good evening, everyone. A low-pressure trough triggered widespread showers and thunderstorms across parts of the state today, and this system will continue deepening tomorrow while onshore winds drive wet weather along the east coast. Following this, a high-pressure system should bring drier skies but hot temperatures across the weekend and into early next week. The next wet weather system looks to sweep across the region from Tuesday. Following today's wet weather, the Riverina will likely see a period of clearer skies. Around 5 millimetres or so is on the forecast with the arrival of that trough next week. First, though, to our Friday weather, and today's wet conditions do look to dry and clear away to a sunny and settled end to the working week tomorrow. A warm day, Narrandera sunny and 34 degrees with those light easterly winds around. Hardin expecting a maximum of 30, a little bit more patchy cloud. Quite warm overnight, though, a minimum of 11. We are expecting these warm conditions to heat up further into Saturday. 36 on the way for Lockhart and the same for Wagga, with a high fire danger rating returning to the northern and southern Riverina. Griffith 40 degrees, well above our November average and accompanied by those mild northeasterly winds. We are likely to see a wind shift during the afternoon, though, those winds coming out of the southwest, but of course remaining gusty at along 35 and the same in tomorrow. On Sunday, we'll continue to feel those southwesterly winds bringing a bit of a cooler chill to the air, but they will remain quite strong, and that combined with more warm temperatures will cause that fire danger rating to remain elevated across the region. In Cootamundra, we're expecting 31, following 16 overnight. That cloud cover trapping in a little bit of warmth throughout the evening, and a top of 28 in Tumbarumba, following 15 overnight. If we take a look now to the next 7 days, we can see that warmth sticking around throughout early next week. Not as hot as Saturday, though. 36 degrees. We are going to swelter through a very hot weekend.
36, it's really hot.
Yeah, it is.
T-shirt weather. Thanks, Kirsty. All right, now for a quick look at fuel prices. In Cootamundra, the Metro Petroleum service station has unleaded for $1.99 and diesel for $2.19. The Mobil service station in Adelong has unleaded for $2.08 and diesel for $2.27. And in Young, the Metro Petroleum service station has unleaded for $2 and they've got diesel for $2.18.
And that's your local news for tonight. Thanks for watching. You can catch up on our website or, of course, at 7+.
Right now, Dan's got your national news. Enjoy your night. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock.